very much. We might open up a little bit tonight, but you'll just have to bear with us. I'll give you a bit of a talk about different things that happened in my time. I was born in Goulgong. I started playing football in Goulgong. Tell you how things changed. Transport those days was a cattle crate on a semi-trailer with board seats and carpet on the floor. And later years, Dad moved to Merrygown. He was a shearing contractor. I used to go with him in the shed sometimes. One shed was 30 miles the other side of Orange. I was the wool presser, pressing 26, 28 bales a day, tramping wool in the Ferrier wool press, not with the electric ones today. It was good training for you, but Dad would say during the week, you better go for a run tonight. The shearers were so good in those days, so I could be back for training at 8 p.m, dirt roads those days. The large scrubbers were shearers with Dad, and they were very good at not put the clock on half an hour, so I'd be back for 10 lap jack. They brought football back to life in Dunedoo. Before then, the juniors would get old jumpers, different colours at the times, and some torn. Terry O'Brien would say to me, you better get here a bit earlier and you'll get a better jumper. Jack's grandson's coaching our girls team here now and doing a top job, just like his pop, which has been a lifesaver for football in Dunedoo and other country towns. When 10 lap Jack started coaching, you would have to park your car on the fence in the early days to get a park, just like it was here today. The girls back in those days, when Jack had the pub, they'd have to sit in the car while we went and had a shower and a drink. The age then for girls to go in the hotel was 21, and it was reduced back to 18 in 1967. Showers at the ground was a piece of gold pipe with a few holes drilled in it, and if you didn't get up then where the water was coming from, you'd only get 10 drips a minute. To have a good football side, besides a good coach, is also made up of a good committee. We were struggling in some years. Bill Graham came along and introduced club badges. And when he went overseas, to tell you how a good president of the club runs so well, he was overseas and everyone knew their job to a T. Just like the committee we had for this organisation here tonight. We had Matthew, Joanne and young Cordy and all the girls. I've never seen a team of girls work so well together and do a job. There wasn't where are we up to? Yeah, that's pretty good. When Bill came along, he also introduced club badges while he was overseas. And these club badges were very good in those days. If you went to Sydney, we'd always go down each year, take turns with a car to go to the grand final. And with these badges Bill introduced, we could get into any club in Sydney. Never caused any trouble while I was down there, of course. Sorry to hold you up. Cyril Miller coached here in 1946 to 1951. And again in 54 and 55. His son Stephen is here tonight, which we've already mentioned, but Stephen has been a good sponsor of the club and a good supporter of our club. We lost our last living survivor this week, aged 99, Peter Atwood, a top bloke off the field, and when he's in the agency for PT Lord, he was a hard boss. He could tell a good story, and he had a young bloke working for him that went to Sydney one weekend, and he had to be back Monday morning. You're doing a good job, Chris. He had to be back Monday morning to help the sale. Anyway, he missed the plane from Sydney. So he thought that much of Peter anyway. He ended up getting a taxi from Sydney. But when he got back, he was pretty late and they were working overtime at the yards. And Peter said, get yourself over there to that trough and have a good wash in it. So he went over to the trough, and when he had bent over in the trough, Peter got his boot up and pushed him underwater in the trough. He said, get over there and have a decent shower now. But that young bloke, he used to play up a bit, but he said that Peter made him. He went on to be a good agent himself in later years. He reckoned Peter put him on his feet, and that's what a few people need today. I was a fairly clean player myself, but everyone would warn me about Max Day. You can ask anyone here tonight and they'll tell you how this Max Day was a tough customer. Well, how I ended up getting on pretty well with Max Day, because the first drum that packed down, I was playing hooker and I kicked him in the ankle as hard as I could, and I had no problems ever since. Those days we had two no-nonsense props in David Abbott and John Brennan. Playing Barradoon in Mudgee one day, my mate Earl Darlican broke through. Then there was two big prop forwards from Barradoon, Russell Chilson and Percy Worrell, appeared straight in front of him. I said to myself, Earl's going to get smashed here. Anyway, when Earl got to him, he jumped in the air about 12 inches, 14 inches high, and hit them both in the chest. You've seen all those Western movies where they have a punch up and come out, and when he jumped up in the air, he hit them both in the chest, and they swung open like swinging doors in a pub. Went on to score. I'll touch a little bit on referees. Playing in Mudgee one day, Pat Bryant was the referee.
I told you the older you get, the better you were. You can see.
Pat Bryant was the referee in those days, and his brother was an SP bookmaker. We got beaten that day, and Dad was a very keen supporter, and he went over and he met Pat at the gate, and he said to Pat, "You should get in for half price, Pat." He said, "Why is that?" He said, "Well, you can only see one side." But one of the best referees I come across in the group was Tony Luffman from Coonabarabran. Had a good style of refereeing, like Darcy Lawler was from Sydney. But a lot of people in Dunedoo knock Wayne Burgess as a referee, but I think Wayne is a very fair referee. My brother Leon, he used to torment the teachers a bit, and he'd give them a fair bit of trouble, and the same with referees. One day he was playing down here and he got penalised, and when he got penalised he kicked the football right over behind the cars on the far side of the football field. Leon walked over, strolled back, held the game up for about 5 minutes, and then the referee sent him off. Where are we? Won't keep you much longer. The Bennetts family were football mad. We would talk football all day, every day at the meal table, all the time. And Mum would say to it, "Must be half time by now, fellas." And back in the early days, the barbecue, the way it was run to now, Pearlie Cook, she used to run the canteen, and when you'd pay for a steak or a sausage, she'd tuck the money down inside her bra. The style, the way people dress today, it'd be a bit of a touchy subject. One of the best players in Dunedoo that had a lot of tattle, and I thought could make it in Sydney as a footballer, was a chap by the name of Billy Martin, played on the wing. You'd only have to torment the bloke on the inside of him, and he had half a yard start, you could close the gate. Ron Gallagher, he was a lifesaver for Dunedoo too, coming to Dunedoo and done a good job coaching senior players, and also he's done a mighty job with the junior league here. And that's, if you haven't got good junior league teams, you won't have a good team down the track. We've also got Kevin Robinson here tonight. I'm pleased to have him here, that coached Dunedoo for two years and done a pretty good job. I think I better finish up at that, or your tea will be cold. Thank you.